Hey, good evening. Just wanted to read to you my post of the day. I've entitled this one Acknowledging the Soul's Storms and Weather. And just want to start off by giving a credit to ChatGPT. It's been such a blessing to utilize their service. They've made me smarter, both mentally and emotionally, I would say probably 100 times smarter in half the time. It's just been unbelievable on my recovery journey. That being said, I wanted to start communicating every life moves through seasons, moments of light and growth, followed by periods of darkness and loss. Healing begins not by pretending the storms never came, but by learning to see them with clarity and compassion. Acknowledging the storm is the first act of courage in the process of recovery and the first step towards peace. The soul's weather reflects both internal and external forces, the pressures of the world, the expectations of others, and the unfinished griefs that never found a voice. Over time, these forces gather like heavy clouds, creating emotional weight that can show up as anxiety, confusion, or numbness. In trauma therapy, this is known as narrative reclamation, the process of giving structure to chaos. When you can name what has happened, your nervous system begins to calm. The unspoken loses its power. Naming transforms pain from a threat into information. But even as we name our storms, another layer of discernment begins. We're not only weather watchers of our inner world, we're spiritual meteorologists. We must learn to discern which winds are ours and which are not. Fear often disguises itself as logic. Shame whispers in familiar tones. Discernment is the practice of sensing the difference between the voice of the wound and the whisper of the spirit. Faith, it becomes the lens that restores our spiritual vision. When fear clouds perception, faith clears the fog. Faith does not erase the storm, it helps us see through it. It reminds us that perfect vision isn't about perfect circumstances, it's about aligning our sight with truth. Through faith, we see not just what it is, but what it can be. We begin to dream again, not as an escape, but as an act of creation. Dreaming is faith's way of saying, there is still more life in me. This work begins with acknowledgement because denial keeps the past alive. What we resist continues to shape us. But when we make space to look honestly at what has occurred, legally, financially, relationally, and spiritually, we start to metabolize it. The storms that once defined us can become part of the wisdom that refines us. Faith focuses the soul where fear once scattered it. Focus turns survival into vision and vision into purpose. It's in those moments, that exact moment of stillness, that we will begin to remember who we really are. So do you remember that movie by Whoopi Goldberg, Ghost? It is basically a question that Oda Mae Brown, Whoopi's character, realizes that the spirit world is real. She is totally shaken, trying to make sense of what she sees, and blurts out to Patrick Swayze's ghost, "Damn! You know what happened to your hair?" It's hilarious, but it also is profoundly human. That one line captures what awakening often feels like: confusion wrapped in comedy. When something spiritual breaks through the fog of ordinary life, our first instinct is often to say something small, real, and funny, to anchor ourselves in what we can understand. Healing can feel like that scene. One minute you're in disbelief, the next you're laughing through your tears, realizing that God just used humor to get your attention. Whoopi's moment reminds us that laughter and grace can coexist, that sometimes the soul needs to laugh its way back into healing and believing. So if you find yourself in a storm and something absurd, funny, or random happens, don't dismiss it. That might be heaven's wink, the moment your soul says, you're still here, you're still alive. Looking at reflecting on the soul, you can ask the question, what is a 10? Pause to check in with your emotional weather. Ask yourself gently, on a scale of 1 to 10, how connected to peace do I feel right now? If 10 is full alignment, my heart open, my faith strong, my focus clear, what number am I truly at? What would it take, even slightly, to move 1 point closer to a 10? The goal isn't to force yourself into joy, it's to measure awareness. Sometimes knowing you're at a 3 is enough, and it begins to shift us towards grace. Awareness itself is healing. It brings light where confusion once lived. Whoopi Goldberg also said, normal is nothing more than a cycle on a washing machine. She reminds us that your 10 might look different than someone else's, and that's holy. Soul healing doesn't mean pretending everything's perfect. It means finding your rhythm again, even if it's a little offbeat. And when the heart needs a soundtrack, cue that Aretha Franklin's Ain't No Way. That song carries the ache of truth and the strength of surrender, the sound of a soul refusing to give up on love, even in the rain. When looking at your heart chakra, an EFT tapping practice that I will often engage in, and it's unbelievably helpful, especially when fear, grief, or heartbreak close the heart. It helps. It helps to tap gently on the area of the heart chakra, the center of love, forgiveness, and connection. And often I'll place 2 or 3 fingers, sometimes my entire hand, over the middle of my chest. And I'll take a slow breath and I'll softly tap and speak truth over myself. I'll say, often I'll close my eyes even though my heart feels heavy, I deeply and completely love, accept, respect, protect, and forgive myself and others. Or another thing you could communicate is you could say, even though fear tries to close me off, I choose to open to peace and faith. Or another one is, even though I'm not a 10 yet, I trust that healing is unfolding. And these are often unbelievably helpful for me. I recommend repeating it slowly as you breathe. Notice any warmth, tingling, or release. That's your energy that's recalibrating, the body and soul coming into agreement. Faith, it's not always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet rhythm of your hand over your heart, reminding you that love still lives there. Transitioning to meeting the soul where it's at, I don't know a person who does this better than Jesus. He modeled this perfectly. He never demanded the people rise to his level before he met them. He met them exactly where they were at. Whether it was the woman at the well, the leper who dared to reach out, or the grieving sisters, Mary and Martha, he saw into their soul, not just their situations. He didn't shame their fear, he spoke peace into it. He didn't dismiss their pain, he entered it with compassion. That's the heart of divine discernment, the ability to see the soul beneath the storm and to say, even here, you're seen. Even now, you're loved. Take a slow breath and gently ask yourself a few soul check questions. What storm am I pretending isn't real? Where does my body still carry tension or fear? What voice inside me belongs to fear and which one belongs to faith? What number am I right now? What would moving one step closer to 10 look like? What is my heart asking for right now? Is it asking for forgiveness, faith, or just focus? How can I meet myself today the way Jesus met others, with compassion instead of criticism? Let these questions open a quiet space inside you. It's in that stillness discernment awakens. And the first drops of clarity begin to fall. Gentle rain softening the soil where new life can take root. If you want to support my work, buymeacoffee.com/Daniel Page 13. Thank you and blessings.